Welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. We're at the Oregon Zoo, right in front of the lion exhibit. So glad you're with us. I'm Ken Ackerman. You know, Pediatrics Magazine says 1 in 6 children here in the United States will be born with a developmental disability. Here to tell us more, Jessica Leitner. She's with the Edwards Center, Executive Director. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Explain exactly what we mean by a developmental disability.
Developmental disability would be any condition that occurs prior to the 18th birthday, so during the developmental period. Could be genetic in nature, a person born with a genetic disorder like Down syndrome, Krut-Kai. Autism is another very common disability on the rise.
And when we talk about what causes these, it's all theory right now. We don't know, do we? Yeah,
it's all over the map. There's a lot of information about the genetic predisposition for people, so there's definitely some genetic markers where it's carried in families. There's a lot of theories around what's causing autism. There's been some research around food and food allergies. There's been research around vaccines, also chemicals, you know, in the water and in the food supply, but no one has been able to come up with a definitive cause.
Now, the Edwards Center, tell me about the background. You're celebrating an anniversary this year.
Yes, 40 years. We were founded in 1972 by a group of families out in Aloha, and these were families who made the decision back then not to place their children in large institutions. That was the primary way that you know, physicians back in that time would recommend that you have your child placed away from your family.
But now it's an entirely different dynamic. In fact, you are helping to move the entire segment of the population who used to live apart together now.
Yeah, nationally, about 70% of adults with disabilities, so they graduate from high school, remain at home with their families in multi-generational living arrangements. We've offered a continuum of services over our 40 years, 24-hour residential care, apartment living, even end-of-life care for people. Our newest project, which we're breaking ground on this year, is a family housing model. It's an intentional neighborhood where families would move together with their adult child with disabilities in order to age in place.
And you have a community center in walking distance?
We do. We just opened our renovated building in Aloha. It served as an old sheltered workshop for about 20 years, actually. We renovated it. We now offer classes, continuing education, respite options for families. We have a wonderful partnership with Meals on Wheels, formerly known as Loaves and Fishes. They provide a hot meal on site every day.
It's families getting help easier. It's families who know your situation, who have been there, and who can counsel as well.
Absolutely, and it's much more affordable. So when you think about it from a taxpayer perspective or from a long-term care model, our group homes in Oregon, they average about $7,000 a month per person, but in-home care can, especially with a family, can be as little as $700 to $800 a month per person. What makes that possible are services like the community center that are co-located, where you can come down and take a class, or you can have a hot meal, spend time shooting pool, watching a movie.
It's like a campus.
It is. It's like a campus. And instead of having to hire an expensive respite provider or worry about who's going to look after your child while you're out running groceries, well, they can hang out at the community center where you take care of your regular everyday needs.
Now, would this be housing for adults with developmental disabilities or kids with developmental disabilities?
Oh, we're open to all family combinations, but the idea is that you move into the neighborhood with your family. So it's not separate housing where you send your adult to live. It's actually housing where you move with them.
Well, very good. Jessica, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And happy anniversary.
Thank you.
To the Edwards Center. And do you have a website?
We do, www.edwardscenter.org.
All right, very good. Jessica Leitner, thank you very much. And we want to thank you for joining us on Comcast Newsmakers here from the Oregon Zoo. For the crew here, I'm Ken Ackerman. Make it a great day.